Hi, and welcome to the Mountain Collective podcast.
Martijn, I'm very glad to have you back on the podcast. Part two for everyone who's listening. For everyone who's listening, listen to part one. It was all about how to get started in the social media, especially for LinkedIn. And that's where you are prolific at. You are very good at optimizing profiles and optimizing the way of thinking actually about how to utilize LinkedIn. And other things as well. Of course, that we're humans. We talked about also other things. So I'm really happy to have you on the second time on the podcast. Hopefully for more, but for now I'm quite glad to have you back.
Yeah. If you get messages from people, not again, that guy, then we should stop. But otherwise, there's so much to talk.
Yeah, man. Like I think last time we talked about almost like the global general view of how and why is actually LinkedIn is such a powerful tool. And you've been doing this. I've seen on your LinkedIn profile. I've seen that you've been doing this for a long time. Like it's like more than 15 years, right? Like it's been a while.
Yeah. When Twitter was still a cool place, then I was already busy on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I have only respect for you on that respect because it means that you saw this happening because Instagram is now oversaturated with all of these images. I don't want to let's not go in detail on that. TikTok is completely for a different purpose. It's hard to build relationships on those two platforms. However, LinkedIn is like it's the only one that is staying here, and it's almost like the only one where we can. For you to already know that from already like for such a long time ago, again, I only have respect for that. So now for today, I would love to go a little bit more in detail, actually.
Sure.
There are a few things that last time we talked about. We talked about optimizing the profile. What are the do's and the don'ts? And but for now, I think it would be more interesting to know like. We talked also about like how to talk to people like in the DMs and how to actually be like an actual human being. But I think there are like way much more to uncover in this conversation about reaching out to people. Like how do we reach out to people in an emotional level? You suggested that to me as well, like because I feel like I feel like it's something that we might need to talk a little bit more about, and I'm actually curious to know more about this topic that you suggested, as in like how to be emotional or how to be more on the emotional side of conversation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, of course, thank you for inviting me again. And you talked about much respect and stuff like that. Well, that's the same for me to you, and for the listeners. We're not going into like full blown 10-minute details on how awesome we are, but I just want to be that on the record that you're doing amazing stuff. And you mentioned like you were on LinkedIn very early. Yes, I was. The reason why I said because LinkedIn most of the times goes a little bit deeper. And what I mean by that is like you can share information on that platform that you wouldn't share on Facebook or Insta or TikTok. So there's nothing wrong with those platforms, or maybe it is, but that's another discussion. But what I like from LinkedIn is that it's a gateway to really go deep on specific topics. And that's what I like more than let's say the more shallow-based content that you find on TikTok and Insta. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a time and place for that. But that's what I love about LinkedIn. And that's why I actually, since the last 5 years, only focus on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because LinkedIn has really blown up in the last 5 years. And when I give training and I talk about content, then there's always somebody in the room that says, yeah, but LinkedIn is turning into Facebook. I don't want that personal shit on my timeline. Well, first of all, you shouldn't go into your timeline because it's a waste of time. You can find topics on LinkedIn. It's more interesting. Those are the details. But when you look at the best performing posts, this is like the big warning sign with this, you shouldn't do it as a trick, because I see some people do it as a trick. They are emotional on LinkedIn as a trick. There is, for those of you that are listening, or even for you, Mourad, you can Google it. I think it's a crying CEO, And he now actually has that in his headline on LinkedIn, the crying CEO, because he made a movie on LinkedIn crying into the webcam like, I need to fire a lot of people, which was really backfired. Like, what the F are you talking about? So I'm not talking about being emotional on LinkedIn like as a trick, but when you want to go a little bit deeper into building relationships with your leads, with your customers, with people that are interesting for you to network, at the end of the day, it's your personality that people like. And I think it's really good for people to remind themselves that LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's networking. And emotions are a part of that. And when we connect on a deeper level, everything goes better. You know, your business goes better, your sales go better, the impact that you make goes better. So yeah.
Interesting. So how actually, like, to be completely honest with you, like I did few of those posts, and they worked. They actually worked in a way that it's almost like being vulnerable. And when I like to be vulnerable, like first and foremost, bro, like to actually show my face to LinkedIn was already a hustle. I was like, oh, like here we go. Like I have to, it's almost like, okay, you have to be proud of yourself to do that, right? That's number one. Put the self-esteem on the side and, try to do it. And second, like if you are gonna talk about something that is really hard, some kind of challenge thing that it's really opening a book to 7,000 people and 6,000 people. If the thing goes viral, maybe like 100,000.
Yeah, people. Even more. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's maybe like one barrier where people will maybe find it like a little bit hard to open up. Because I know some people that don't even say that to a friend. They don't even open to a friend, let alone to a whole platform. So but for me, like to come back to my personal, journey with that, it really, when I opened up, like as in like I've been doing this for some time and I struggle with this and I burned out on that level and people were like, bro, like actually like I went to a park like here in Amsterdam at Fondo Park, and I went to a friend of mine, and that person was like, you know what, I actually also had a burnout. Yeah, people connect with that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, you didn't post it because some asshole told you that you get a lot of likes when you do that. You do that because it's a message that you want to get out there.
Yeah, okay.
And if you use Instagram or TikTok, it doesn't really matter, but now we're talking about LinkedIn. And I think that's a really important thing. On the other hand, it's a pretty funny statistic, or at least guess I'm a LinkedIn nerd. I find that a funny statistic. Only 1 to 2% of people post on LinkedIn. That's like completely nuts. So 98% of your network doesn't post on LinkedIn, at least on a consistent level. So I'm talking about, let's say, 2 posts a month. And the reason why is, one, it takes, of course, time and effort, and what are you going to talk about, and blah, 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 blah. We discussed this in our other session. But somebody asked me, and I said, she asked me, like, why is it only 2% of people posting on LinkedIn? And I said, it's actually dangerous. And she's like, what? I said, no, truly it is. And I believe that there are actually 2 fears in life that everybody has. That everything in life that you're afraid of, you can boil it down to those 2 fears. One is the fear of actually dying, which is, sideways, fear is a good thing, because if you wouldn't be afraid and you would stand on a building like, hey, what would happen if I would jump off? No, you don't. So fear of dying, so actually dying, that's one. And number 2 is fear of rejection, because our brain is wired in a way that when you get rejected by the tribe, they will kick you out, you will be alone, and then the lion will come and eat you. So our brain is hardwired for that. And if you post something and people don't like it, or let alone, and that's why I like LinkedIn more than other platforms, because it's the more nicer platform, let's call it. But when you post something which is really into your heart, like what you posted, and then somebody comes along and says, well, don't cry about it, just be a man, go on, or whatever stupid thing people say, or nobody responds, that's like, geez, that's crushing you, man. So we can talk about this like being emotional, and I think you should, but I do understand for those people listening now that are, easy for you to say. Well, I don't know about you. I freaking hate selfies. I hate them. But my content creator, I write and create all my content, but I have somebody creating like the images for me. And she was like, yeah, I need more pictures of you. I hate that, but as you said, man, it works. People want to see a bit more of you.
Like, this is so good, man. Like, I really, like, that's why I like to talk to you, man. So, like, there is this thing where I think there are a few barriers, right? Like, you completely, said it correctly, as in, like, the fear of rejection. But also, I think when, like, if we go one level, like, because you went like all the way deep to that level, right? Like, if we go one level, like actually, like, not deeper, because I think that's the deepest one. Like, I think it's really like fear. But I think the one step more is that people don't understand, like, what's the value of that. Like, once you unlock that post and unlock that, they don't know what's behind that mountain. They don't see the view behind that, the horizon behind that, because they have, which I have empathy for them, because they haven't felt that. But
100%.
But once you step into that world and you feel it and you understand, like, oh, so this is what happens when I'm vulnerable. This is what happens when I post of my face and saying, like, hey, look at this thing that happened to me. It's like, like, this is like a scar from this and this and that. I actually had like, I was metaphorically saying it, but I think I have one right there, yeah, somewhere in the middle.
I want to hear. I was like, oh shit, YouTube. Sorry,
maybe we bump heads. But I think it's really like the behind the horizon. Like, people haven't seen that view, and they really, because I have that too. Like, I actually have that too with other things in life, such as not skydiving. I've done skydiving before, but before skydiving, I was like, okay, like, is this actually like a fun experience, or am I gonna die? But once I did it, once I jumped off that airplane, really, like, I can tell the story. I have really, I wouldn't do it again, to be honest with you, but like, it was really like a fun experience and done. So, but coming back to the other point that you said before, like, overdoing things and overusing this method, I believe, like, the moment that someone tries it and they go like, oh, this works, let me do this on a daily basis, of course.
But people notice, everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to. No, people have a bullshit radar. It's pretty good already. So people notice. On the other hand, people also notice when you are genuine. And I know, you have to be authentic. I hate that word as well, but it is true. And that's so interesting. On the other hand, it's also, I sometimes even would go as far as, you struggled, with your burnout and all the things. You could even say, and I know this might sound harsh, but it's actually something I believe. If you keep that all to yourself, all the lessons that you learned, it's actually selfish. So you went through burnout, you like lots of shit, you dealt with it, you fixed it, or at least you found a way to accept it, or to what would you say, overcome it, and then you wouldn't share that with anyone. I'm not saying that everybody should now go on LinkedIn or whatever platform, but not sharing it is not a good idea. And if you don't want to share it on social media, good for you. And please don't feel forced to do that. Absolutely not. But then share it with a friend, or share it with somebody that you meet, or, get that message out there, and don't do it for the likes or the comments, but do it just to help somebody.
Yeah, to help somebody that is in that situation at that time.
Yeah.
True. That's actually very true. I think it's selfish if we also, like, from the therapy, let's say, a side of things, when we talk about our like downside of our life. Everyone has that side. Like I don't think I really like if someone doesn't say that, like I'm like something is wrong with this person. Like
Oh, you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
No worries.
Exactly.
We'll talk in a year.
Exactly. But I think if we talk about it publicly, like, maybe personally, but it's almost like a therapy session where it's almost like an outlet from like to see like how people really react on my situation, and maybe if someone can actually help me, maybe they don't, but it's just letting it out in the world is already like a sort of way of helping yourself.
I really love the concept. You got me thinking, and after the book, I need to reread it again. It's from Philip McKernan. He's an Irish guy. He's not that famous, but he's really, really good. Philip McKernan, like in the Irish version, is like McKernan. Well, let's drop it in the show notes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's doing it anymore, but before COVID hit, he had a concept which was called One Less Talk, and I really loved that idea. He also wrote a book about it. The idea was that he said, like, I'm going to lots of conferences, which is great, but then there's a speaker on stage, he's talking about blah, 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 good talk, bad talk, it doesn't really matter. And he says, like, there are people in the room whose stories are super interesting as well. So what he came up with is, what if I create an event for people that are not famous speakers, but they want to give their one last talk, like this is the only talk that you can do before you die. It sounds a little bit hard, but that's sort of the idea. Like, what's the one thing you want to give this world? What's the one thing you learned or experienced that you want to share? And it cannot be the 5 steps to happiness or whatever. It has to be, something you experienced. And the stories, they are amazing. And I really love that concept because in the book he explains like how to set up this one less talk and how to find it and blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting if you're into that. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but might be a nice resource for those listening out thinking like, yeah, well, good story, but how do I do that? That might be a resource you might want to check out if that's something that helps.
I didn't know about it. I'm definitely gonna dive into that. I think I think it's almost like you have this thing that you want to share and you don't know like how to actually draw it or how to visualize that like for the public. I think like these tools are really, really handy, and I definitely will read that book. I think I've been reading like so many books lately, and I haven't came this across One Less Talk.
Yeah, he's not that famous, Philip McKernan, but to me, he's one of the best out there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony Robbins, if you're listening, he's better than you. Sorry.
I heard, bro. Like I've seen one of your podcasts, like with some other people. I saw that you've been to Tony Robbins like seminars and everything, right? Like you've done that.
Yeah, 2 times.
Yeah, nice. How like can we talk about it a little bit? Like how was that for you?
Yeah, all right. So we are on an honest conversation, so let's go for that. Actually, I'm a little bit disappointed in Tony. I know it's a great guy. So first of all, let me start. When you start off with your personal development journey, let's put it that, then Tony is a great source. He has interesting stuff. It's easy to digest. The things that he's telling are good. When you go to his seminars, this is really like the American, like, you go completely nuts. And I was like, I knew that would happen because some people I know have gone to one of his seminars. So it's like, I'm not that guy, I'm not the I spend a lot of money on the ticket and the hotel and all the other stuff. So let me just go full in. Mm-hmm. It was a 4-day event. And then if after 4 days, I think like you were completely nuts. I don't have to do it ever again, but let's go full in, full out. Come on, let's go. So yeah, man, it was fun. You go, the energy goes up and you're really, really pumped. But that's also something that when you continue on your personal development journey, I always go, when you go to Tony Robbins, it has a high personal development junkie or seminar junkie level, which means that you have to go to Tony every year to get your shot, to get pumped up by Tony, if you're not careful. Now, I don't want to insult anybody that loves Tony Robbins. And again, I got some great lessons from the guy, so for that I love him. But what I didn't really like is the really American commercial side of it, because it's interesting from a marketing perspective, but they sell you on the third day at 2:00 in the night, they sell your program. I think it was like 80,000 euros, and people would get a mortgage for that to go to those seminars. So that's where I felt like, Tony, I get it, you make a lot of money, which you should, because you do awesome things. So just, please make some money out of it. But that was like, goes a little bit too far. And also I found that when I dove deeper into my own journey, that the things that he talked about were not fixing my quote unquote problems. And that's why when I got into other people like Jordan B. Peterson, especially the things that he put out earlier in his career, I really love. He's now posting some stuff I don't always agree with, but it doesn't matter. But also this Philip McGurran guy, that got me. It served me better. Let's put it like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
But again, for those that love Tony, I love Tony as well. It's fun, It's like to.
Yeah.
People go completely crazy. It's so funny, Everybody's hugging and he From a sales and marketing perspective and how he does it, and if you just want to have a good time and learn something along the way, definitely go to one of those seminars. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's like a entertainment slash a learning.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I don't know. I actually don't have anything to say about it, to be completely honest with you. Like, I think, like I go to like conferences like TED Talks or the Next Web or like All Festival is actually last week, which is when the podcast is gonna be out. So it's last week. It's in Barcelona. It's one of my favorite conferences. But it's basically people should come in and show in their work, and they're like, hey, this is what we've done. This is our process, and this is. I think it's really cool to. But the thing is, been talking to some people, and I told them like some friends who are going, and I told them, hey, you gotta talk to people on LinkedIn beforehand. That's the best way to do it. Yeah, exactly.
If you see people that are attending that event because you found it on a hashtag or a post, or let's not go into those details. Yeah, man, send them a message like, hey, cool, what are you going to do, blah, 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 blah. And if you don't want to do it before, well, at least do it after, connect on LinkedIn when you meet. Yeah. There's actually a possibility, not many people know it. When you go to the LinkedIn app on your phone, so when you open it up, on the top right, there's a little QR code. When you click on it, and then, for example, if I would meet you, you only have to hold your phone there, and then we're connected.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a QR code to your profile.
Interesting. Well, so this is one thing that again, like, people miss out. It's the fact that you can actually like connect first on an online base, just to get yourself out on a offline situation or in a physical situation, especially at these kind of conferences. Like the fact that it attracts speakers, high-end studios, people that you can work with as a freelancer, let's say, or as a designer, whatever, motion designer, 3D artist. You can basically just go to them and say like, hi, like, nice to meet you, like let's have a conversation, let's have a coffee, let's see if we can work together. It doesn't have to be like super spammy, like, okay, this is my profile, this is my work, this is what I do, this is what I do. It's more or less like, hey, let's just have a coffee and see, because you have like so many opportunities. And I feel like, coming back to the fear of rejection, I think that's where I think most people kind of hesitate and go like, should I do this, or am I gonna be spammy, am I gonna be this, is it too much for, bro? Like, I think if you are continuously talking to someone and consistently doing something to reach a level, people respect you for that. They go like, that guy is really going after it, like, instead of like being like, it's gonna come to me, and like, no, it's definitely not gonna come to you.
Yes, sort of the secret, I'm gonna sit here and then wish it, and then I'm just going to.
Well, okay. I can't deal with that.
Although, yes, you should aim for stuff. So I'm also into that. But just sitting on the couch and then wishing that it will be that your next Ferrari is going to roll in. Maybe you want to do that and also do a little bit of work to get there.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the best way to do it. It's almost like, writing things that you want to do, but at the same time taking massive action on it. Like otherwise, I think that massive, like that word massive is really underestimated. Like people think massive is like 10 times a month, and I'm like maybe like 100 times a day.
Yeah, and that of course is really what you say, maybe even scaring people. Like, holy shit, should I comment 100 times a day? Well, all right, man. Then start with, I don't know, 20 but everybody understands that if you want to get something, you have to work for it. No matter what LinkedIn or Instagram influencers telling you that with their model of 997 euros, you will make $1,000 every day within 10. Fuck off. Doesn't work like that. So, but again, it's what you say. Yeah, you should take massive action. And interesting story. I have to go to the practical level. If you find some interesting people and you feel like, I don't want to send them a connection request because I feel spammy or whatever it is, start with following them, because you can do that as well on LinkedIn. Start by following them and then start to interact with their posts. So if I want to connect with you, but I don't want to send you an invite right away for whatever reason it is, why don't you start to comment on your posts and not, great post, dude? No, not that one. You don't want to be the great post guy or girl. I think we mentioned that in the last podcast. But really go deep, like, hey, this is interesting and this is how I see it. Or, hey, great Mourad, but can I ask you a question on this? And when you do that 3 to 4 times, then it's so easy to send them a connection request because, hey, I love your content. I commented already a few times. Maybe it's good for us to connect. So for those of you listening, like, should I really connect? I don't want that. Start there, and start with 10 comments a day. But of course, depending on your day. Yes, everybody's really busy, but if you spend like 4 hours on your PlayStation every morning or every afternoon, well, at least start with 1 hour on LinkedIn, creating content, commenting, connecting.
Yeah, well, I think, again, like coming back to the same thing that you said before, because you just sent something like really, like it's the base of everything. It's the fear of rejection. But at the same time, it's like they have alternatives to do, like, scroll on Instagram or scroll on other things. But the moment, bro, like I really believe this, like the moment that, because it happened to me, the moment that I saw the potential, I became creative opportunist. Like I've been looking for opportunity in a creative way. And that's for me, like I was like, okay, now I can still be my creative, personality, which I've been always, like, which is, because everyone is, I think, is a creative in a kind of way, because creativity gives you like this, it gives you like this valuable consistency, because if you are creative and you are creating things in a way that it fulfills your needs, you do that on a consistent base just by nature, and I never wanted to lose that, definitely not on a commercial way. So especially a lot of artists are struggling with this. They don't like marketing at all. They go like, bro, like, why should I market myself? I'm super good. I'm very crafty. I'm like, bro, like if you are a singer and you sing in the shower, like no one is gonna listen to you. If you're really good, like no one is gonna listen to you. But if you are, did I say this example last time?
No, but
okay, cool. Yeah, but because you were like, okay, here he comes again. No.
Yeah, no. Continue.
Yeah, so if the person is singing like okay-ish, and he has like maybe like 10, 20,000 people, that's pretty good. So so on one side you have marketing, on the other side you have craftsmanship. But if you combine these two together and you are really good at what you do, but at the same time you reach out to people and you talk about your work and you frame your art in a way that in a beautiful museum kind of museum-ish way, people will love your stuff. But at the same time they will be like, here's my money.
Definitely, and there are 10,000 ways that you can do it, maybe even 100,000. So if you're listening to this and you're like, shit, man, I hate marketing. Almost everybody hates marketing. That's not the point, you know. Everybody hates the spammy marketing, the spammy sales guys, the spammy shit. Nobody likes that. And if you follow those tactics, well, to be honest, you're going to be out of business pretty soon. Nobody likes the spammy shit. To do it and to receive it. But it's exactly what you say. So when you have that craftsmanship and when you create this awesome stuff, you need to find a way to get it out there and just experiment with things, you know. I don't know, post 50 posts on Instagram, and if it doesn't work for you, sure, man, you tried it, or woman, sure, you tried it and continue to the next one. But you should try stuff. You should experiment. And you should not just sit back and hang around and say, yeah, but I create great stuff. Yeah, you do. But actually, to come back to Tony Robbins, that's exactly what Tony Robbins does as well. Like marketing is really an important thing. I'm quoting him not correctly, but I think he's saying something like, if I wouldn't have marketing, my message would die on my lips, something like that.
Interesting.
And he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the internet, with all the stuff that's going on, there are so many ways that you can market. You can use social media, definitely use LinkedIn. But if that's not your thing, I don't know, build your website, do something with SEO, guerrilla marketing. There are 10,000 ways that you can do it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you should. Yeah.
No, 100%. Like I think there are like ways, right? Like there are ways to reach out to people. And we talked about, you know, first, which is, you know, like talking to, you know, the close circle, and then, you know, sending them, you know, talking to them as in like in the DMs. And then after that we talked about, you know, posting like free content online, just saying like, hey, I don't think it's actually free content. Like people say like, I'm posting free content on LinkedIn, but actually it's almost like LinkedIn is paying you for advertising, you know?
How do you mean it?
Well, I mean like it's almost like LinkedIn is giving you free advertisement.
Oh yeah, with your organic reach, you mean? Yeah. Well, they're kind of good at squeezing it in the last.
True. I've noticed. I noticed.
Yeah.
I noticed,
but you're exactly right. You know, it used to be like 20, 30 years ago. If you want to get your message out there, there would be barriers. There. You know, you got your banner ads and you got radio, television. Well, let's not go into those details. But you had to spend big money. And yes, reach is harder on all platforms, but it is still there. And there is so much opportunity to get your message across in a way that's close to, well, that sounds really emotional, but close to your heart. You know, experiment with it, try it, and you know, have a look at my profile. This is not a promotional talk, but have a look at what I do and what you do, and if that's something you don't like, then don't find somebody else. You know, find another except find your way, but get out there. Yeah, definitely.
No,
and just to make a little sidestep, our brains think that rejection is death, but if you look at it from a little bit of a logical perspective, if somebody doesn't like your post, they're not going to kill you. No, nobody's going to your home with a chainsaw and murder you up because you posted something on LinkedIn, or let's not hope so. So, although that might be an emotional feeling, everybody understands that when you post something and you don't get a ton of likes, you won't die. You know, people don't reject you. There are many different tribes on the internet that can help you. So if it's not the network that you have right now or the tribe that you have right now, then go to another one. So that's important for people to realize. Yes, that fear is there. Yes, that's something that's holding you back. But when you have this knowledge, then you can overcome it.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And overcoming is only by practicing. And in this case, it's public practicing, you know, like public speaking. So you have to show your face to the public to see the feedback. And Monsieur Bonaparte, what's his name? Napoleon Bonaparte, Monsieur.
Napoleon? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He says, what did he say? He said, quantity has its own quality.
That's a thinker.
Yeah, let's leave it there, man. Thank you so much, bro. Like, again, like the time flew. Like, I don't know how, but it really did. So I'm not gonna say it
We
again.
should do our own
Yeah.
We should do our own podcast series, man. Like only you and me talking.
Yeah, exactly.
And we invite some guests when we're bored. Yeah.
Well,
No, but again, man, it was an honor to be in your podcast again. I really liked it. I like our discussions. This one was more on the, what would you say, philosophical. That's a hard one. Side. So if you want the more practical details, I think people will get those in the first podcast. But thanks again, man, for the invite and asking me again to talk to you, man.
It's important, man. I think it's important. Like this side is very important. It's almost like we are going like into like more of a real unreal, space. So both episodes are very important. Definitely check the first one. Definitely check this one, your profile on LinkedIn. I will do that in the description. The book, I will definitely read it. A lot to do. Again, I have to do a lot of research again. So
you want a quick tip?
Please.
As the last one. I don't get sponsored. I don't have an affiliate. But shortform.com, did I mention it last time?
No.
All right. Shortform.com. It's pretty expensive. It costs around 180 euros a year. Not a month, 180 a year. But what they do is they summarize books in a very, very good way. And a cheaper one is Blinkist. But I now use short form. What they do is, for example, you take a book, they give you a summary out of it, which is good, but then they also take insights from other authors. So when you read a book, for example, from Tony Robbins, Tony says this, and then say, well, Tony says this, but then somebody else, Jay Shetty, he says this, which is counterintuitive. So if you really want to speed up your book reading and you want to do it in a more profound way, that might be a nice one. And if short form, I mentioned you a lot of times, so I think it's time for an affiliate anyway. But that's something that's maybe interesting.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again. Let's talk soon.